Kailyn Lowry has finally confirmed that she's now a mom of 7 kids. But even though her dream of having a big family has come true, it's a complete nightmare for her oldest son, Isaac. His life has changed in such a sad way ever since Kailyn started rapidly expanding their family. The truth about how Isaac has suffered as a result of his mom's choices is absolutely devastating, so let's break it down. Kailyn recently came clean about her twin pregnancy and the arrival of Rio, the son she welcomed with her boyfriend Elijah Scott last November. But now that she's revealed the baby news, many people are seriously concerned about Isaac. Not long ago, Kailyn shared videos on her social media of her first 4 sons reacting to her telling them that she was expecting twins. But you could tell by how Isaac responded that he wasn't exactly happy. And when he was finally able to speak, what he managed to say was so crazy.
I actually expected this.
Isaac clearly wasn't pleasantly surprised by his mom's announcement. Even after he had several weeks to process the news, he still wasn't excited. In fact, how he truly felt was actually the total opposite. Honestly, who can blame Isaac for not being thrilled about the arrival of twin babies? It would be different if he'd been disappointed for a minor petty reason. But with 6 younger siblings, his mom and Elijah in the house, Isaac's feelings are completely understandable. A lot of people believe that Kailyn's decision to keep having more and more kids is incredibly selfish. When she only had Isaac and Lincoln, it was obviously way easier for her to split her time between the 2 boys. But what happened after she had her 3rd son was unbelievable. Not long after Kailyn welcomed Lux to the world in 2017, it seemed like she stopped paying as much attention to Isaac. And ever since then, she hasn't appeared to make any real effort to be better at dividing her time between her kids. What she's been doing instead is seriously bizarre. Kailyn spends a decent amount of her time recording episodes for her 3 podcasts or filming promotional videos for her social media. Otherwise, it seems like she's usually either posting TikToks, going on mostly child-free vacations, or focusing on her youngest kids. Kailyn also goes to practices and games for all of Lincoln, Lux, and Creed sports and activities. But once again, Isaac is almost always left out of those events. He rarely even appears in his mom's social media posts anymore, and that hasn't gone unnoticed. Not surprisingly, Kailyn's followers have been accusing her of not spending enough quality time with Isaac for the last couple of years. But even though she's denied the allegations that she's been neglectful toward him, not everyone is concerned. Kailyn has claimed that Isaac doesn't like contact sports and chooses to play piano instead, which is why it looks like he's not around the family as much. But obviously, she shows up for her other son's activities along with whatever events she has planned for herself. Isaac shouldn't have to join a sports team just to get attention from his mom. So why isn't Kailyn setting aside an equal amount of one-on-one time for him? It turns out that many of her followers believe that she treats Isaac differently for a truly heartbreaking reason. A lot of people have speculated that Kailyn expects Isaac to help take care of his siblings pretty much regularly. If that's true, it's no wonder why he's been so adamant about her not having any more babies. But when she tried to shut those claims down, she ended up exposing details that were extremely telling. In an episode of Kailyn's Baby Mama No Drama podcast from earlier this year, she denied the allegations about Isaac helping her raise his siblings. She said that he doesn't like babies because he thinks they're kind of gross, but that wasn't all she revealed. She added that Isaac doesn't even like helping her with little things, wiping Creed's face or holding him. But if she really hadn't been pressuring him to help out with his siblings like she claimed, why was he doing any of that anyway? At around the same time, Kailyn also posted a TikTok of Isaac brushing Lux's hair. In the caption, she wrote that the only person Lux allows to brush his hair is Isaac, which she meant to sound sweet and wholesome. But what it implied instead was honestly insane. It seemed like even though Isaac didn't want to take care of his siblings, he was still pushed into doing it anyway. But now that he has 3 new siblings that are babies, he's probably expected to spend even more of his time helping out with them. Isaac is 13 years old, and he should be allowed to enjoy being a kid as much as possible. But sadly, it doesn't seem like that's even an option anymore at Kailyn's house. What she confessed in a recent episode of her Barely Famous podcast was absolutely unreal. Apparently, Isaac told his mom that if she had been pregnant with a singleton instead of twins, he would have wanted to live with his dad Joe full time. But allegedly, he decided to stay because he thought it was kind of interesting that she was expecting twins. After Kailyn said that, she actually laughed like it was a joke, but clearly Isaac didn't find it funny that she keeps having more kids that he has to help raise. If he wasn't being negatively impacted by Kailyn's choices, why else would he have threatened to move out? Isaac only has one sister, Vivi, at Joe and V's house. It must be a relief whenever he goes there compared to his mom's chaotic house. But based on what we saw in Teen Mom 2, Kailyn isn't very supportive of Isaac being at Joe's place for more than their court-ordered custody agreement states. Believe it or not, Kailyn's supporters are still defending her decision to have so many kids. They think that because she has enough money to feed them and put a roof over their heads, she's not hurting anyone. But most people know that raising children isn't nearly as simple as just making enough money to pay for their basic needs. As a parent, providing food and shelter for your kids is just the bare minimum for them to survive. But when it comes to emotional needs, like helping them learn to grow in a healthy way, it's a completely different story. All kids need and deserve quality time, care, and nurturing, despite how responsible and well-adjusted they might seem. Some people have claimed that it's not a big deal for Isaac to help take care of his siblings because he seems like such a calm, empathetic caregiver. But he shouldn't be expected to help raise his siblings just because he has a good personality. At this point, it just seems like Isaac is being taken for granted instead of being treated like the little child he is, which is seriously devastating. Interestingly, Kailyn recently shared a surprising photo to her Instagram story, and she tagged Isaac's account in the post. It was an open apology for the firstborn children of moms who weren't quite ready to be parents. On the one hand, it was a nice thing for Kailyn to say to Isaac, but on the other hand, in their particular situation, there was one part of the quote that came across as pretty problematic. In the emotional saying, the author mentioned moms growing up with their firstborn children as they raise them. And even though that's relatable for many mothers, it seems a little bit questionable for Kailyn. Kailyn appears to view Isaac as more of an adult than a child, especially since he's the oldest of her 7 kids. Unfortunately for Isaac, that means he has way more responsibilities than his siblings, but he gets much less positive attention than they do. And Kailyn is going to have to do a lot more than just post an apology on Instagram to actually change that. For years, Isaac has been negatively impacted by his mom's choice to have more kids. Between being cast to the side so that Kailyn can focus on the younger kids and being expected to help take care of his siblings, his chance at having a normal childhood has taken a tragic turn. If nothing changes, I wouldn't be surprised if in the future, Isaac actually does decide to live with his dad most of the time. But hopefully for his sake, Kailyn makes a serious change sooner rather than later. It would be life-changing if he were able to get the care, quality time, and the respect that he deserves at his mom's house. But now that we've talked about how Kailyn's choice to have so many kids has caused Isaac to suffer, I want to know what you guys think. What are your thoughts on Isaac telling his mom that he was considering moving in with his dad because she wouldn't stop having kids? What do you think about the speculations that suggest Kailyn often expects Isaac to help take care of his siblings? Let me know in the comments below.